Hello everybody and welcome back to the next episode in our Let's Play Minecraft series. So I want to start this episode with a little bit of a few updates before we get started on what today's episode is going to be. I know I normally do updates at the beginning of every episode, but this one has quite a few because I've been quite busy since the last episode. So as you can see, last episode we made this custom pond and brought in some tropical fish, and I am absolutely obsessed with how this pond turned out, and I really love adding the mud instead of the dirt down in the bottom of the pond. I think it just really adds a really good depth effect. We also made the super cute flower truck just behind me, as well as the giant dandelions that you can see off in the distance. But since then, I have been a little busy off screen doing some mining and caving and just kind of a lot of resource grinding, and I'm going to put together a little compilation because I did have the replay mod recording while I was doing everything. So let's get into that and tell you guys what I've been up to. So last Friday while I was streaming, I started working on this custom tree and kind of expanding out the little island that in my brain is kind of like the welcoming center point of our little corner of this island, especially since we're going to be wrapping around the village that we're going to be making over just behind where the tree sits. So I started working on this tree and got this island done. I have never actually made like a true proper custom tree other than the one that we put on our nether portal, and it was definitely a little bit of a struggle. It kind of went lopsided, it kind of went backwards, it was a little bit of a mess. So this is the time lapse of the tree, but after stream I went back through on Saturday and added a little bit more leaves and just kind of got that a little bit more leveled out. I'm still not overly thrilled with it, but I'm not mad about it either. And of course, it's raining. It is not a Let's Play series on my channel unless it starts raining immediately. But yeah, I'm really thrilled with the gradient that I tried with the azalea trees going down to the oak, going down to the birch. I did try to use these like chiseled leaves to add in some like glowberry block leaves, but they're the only ones that are transparent for some reason. It kind of bothers me, so I'm not entirely too sure that I'm going to end up keeping those. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. We expanded out the island just a little tiny bit. We added, of course, some like roots kind of in the ground, as well as some rooted dirt, and then mossed it up. Pretty much the whole island is moss, just to kind of give it that like brighter green variant. I'm really thrilled with it. I'm not the happiest with how like lopsided the tree is, but from the front, it's not bad. From the back, it needs some work, so it's definitely a project that I'm gonna have to keep working on as we go. Alrighty, sorry about the cut there. I wanted to wait for the rain to pass and for it to be nighttime so I could sleep, so that y'all didn't have to have the rain noises in the background while I finish this update for you guys. So after the Twitch stream on Friday with the making the tree, I went through and did quite a bit of caving around the world. I didn't really go anywhere new per se, just kind of to some of the areas that we've already explored but hadn't really been into the cave systems. And I took a wolf with us and we finally made him some wolf armor, and I named him Han. I also was able to go through and do some enchantments, and we got very lucky with our pickaxe first enchantment, and we were able to get Fortune 3, Efficiency 4, and Unbreaking 3, and then on the next roll for the enchantment I was able to make another diamond pickaxe, and we were actually able to get Silk Touch, which was even better. So after I got those enchantments, I went back out to the warm ocean and grabbed a little bit of some coral blocks and from the reef out there, and got some stuff ready so that whenever we go to work on our axolotl enclosure, we will have that stuff ready. And so we are officially now up to date on what I have been up to since the last episode. It may not sound like much, but I ended up not feeling the very best Saturday, so instead of recording or streaming like I was initially planning on, I just spent about 4 or 5 hours working on caving and grinding out some trees, just kind of all the stuff that you guys have seen in that little update there. And I'm really excited. I feel so much more secure now that we have our diamond armor, and it's almost fully enchanted. Just the legs need an enchantment, but it's nothing really too crazy. I mostly focused my enchantments on our weapons. And we also found a skeleton spawner, so I'm really excited to be able to turn that into a proper spawner. I haven't gone through and like actually fixed it up, but that's going to be really helpful for us to be able to get our levels so that we can continue our enchantments. Because while this series has been focused on building so far and decorating up the world and just making it a really cute and cozy place to live, if you remember at the very start of the series, my initial goal for this series was to be able to go through to the end and beat the dragon for the very first time by myself. I've only ever beaten him before with friends, so that is my end goal for this series, is to be able to beat the dragon and go to the end. The series will probably still continue after that, especially since we'll have an elytra at that point. But that is the ultimate goal for the series. So being able to finally find some spider spawners while we were caving, and of course a skeleton spawner, really makes me a lot more secure whenever it comes time to work on getting our levels for our enchantments, so that whenever we work on going to find some nether fortresses and eventually go into the end, we won't be just vibing in iron armor anymore without enchantments. So that being said, that's pretty much everything that I've been up to, and I know that in the last video I talked about that I was probably going to take a little bit of a break from the Let's Play series maybe after that episode, and I wanted to start a new series. So I had asked you guys to let me know down in the comments if there was a preference on what kind of series you guys would prefer, and I've gotten some comments saying that they would love to see either skyblock or one block. Now, like I had said in the previous video, my only concern is I'm just not the most familiar with Minecraft mechanics when it comes to really optimizing what you're given in either one of those worlds. So I have been doing some research because I really want to try my hand at preferably skyblock, because I just think that it would be a ton of fun to, you know, kind of see what I could do with islands all around us, and starting with not really a whole ton and turning it into something big. But the more that I watch videos, the more I realize I really don't know a lot about Minecraft mechanics. So I'm still going through and doing my research and watching other YouTubers on their Skyblock series, so I can kind of learn while they play and prep myself for making my own Skyblock series. That being said, while I am still kind of like, I guess, doing my research to figure out everything that I need to feel better prepared for a Skyblock series, I am going to be starting a hardcore series in the meantime. Now that doesn't mean that I'm not going to do Skyblock or one block. I promise I will. I absolutely promise. It just might be a little bit delayed. It might be a few weeks out, might be another month out. I don't know. I don't want it to take too long because I really want to get started on it, but I want to give myself adequate enough time to be able to feel like I'm fully prepared. So in the meantime, I am going to start up a hardcore world, and I've got some really fun ideas for what I want to do in that world, and I'm super duper excited and super motivated for that. That being said, this week's episodes are going to be split between today's episode being the Let's Play world and Friday's episode being on the hardcore world. I'm super excited to be able to finally start adding multiple series to my channel, and I hope you guys are too. I think that's enough yapping for today for our introduction, so let's get into what we're going to be doing today. Today, since we are getting ready to start on a new series or two, I want to kind of finish off this section of the island that I've always kind of considered my little corner before leading over to the village that I eventually want to put over on the other corner. So we're going to finally finish off the last project that I have on this side of the world now that we have the tree built at the center island. And we're going to finally go through and put down a fisherman's hut over in this little corner that leads right up to our base and kind of like leads out to the main water source that leads up to the village up there. This little like dirt entrance has been the biggest motivation for when I decided to settle on this part of the island. When I saw this, I immediately knew I wanted to build a really cool entrance that people could like boat up to, and then you have like a little like welcome fisherman's house, and then you come up and you start our little area. So that is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to finally build up the fisherman's house, but also we're going to be terraforming this part of the island to be a little bit more of like a boat tunnel. And of course, like I've said before on past episodes, I want to add the axolotl enclosure right here into the wall. So yeah, that is what we're going to be doing on today's episode, kind of finishing off this half of the island before we start working on the village. I'm super duper excited for today's episode to get this fisherman's hut done and finally give our axolotls a place to live. Oh yeah, I forgot. We also went through and finally added in the rest of our frames on our storage. It's still not like the most efficient storage, but it's something. So let's go ahead and grab, I'm not too sure, y'all know me. If you've made it this far in the series, you know that I am absolutely not good at knowing how many blocks I'm gonna need for a build, and I typically bring a lot more blocks than what I actually need. But let's go ahead and grab some blocks that we might want. Alrighty guys, I got a ton of blocks that I think I might use. I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to be using all of these. I started bringing in just a few things to kind of play around with for some decor. And yeah, I kind of have like a general idea of like the shape that I want to do. I'm going to see if I can't potentially try to make this in a different color palette than what I'm used to. But we have a ton of work to get to. So the house is going to go here, and then we still have all of that pathing up there leading to the house that we need to do, as well as terraforming out this tunnel. And we're going to do the axolotl enclosure last. So let's go ahead and jump into a time lapse and see if we can't get some terraforming done before we get started on the actual fisher house. Okay, so I have finished kind of sort of terraforming up this little like overhang area. I kind of wanted it to feel almost like a cave entrance. I think it's a little bit better than what it was. I'm not the very best at like when it comes to like terraforming. I wanted it to still feel natural, so I didn't want it to go like, need to get rid of that tree. I didn't want it to be like too like symmetrical as far as like a circle cave, but I think it's a little bit better. I'm hoping that it's one of those that like the little changes are what make the difference. But I did think about it, and I think I want to change the bottom from stone to being sand, just to kind of still stick to the natural feel that we've been doing so far. So I'm gonna put a pause on this real quick. I'm gonna run and go up to the desert and grab some more sand, because I did not grab enough. What I'm keeping right now is I'm hoping to turn that into concrete for the house. So I'm gonna go grab some sand and we're gonna replace out the bottom of this, and yeah, and then we can get started on the fisher house. Alrighty, so now that that is replaced with sand, I'll go through later and add in maybe some like seagrass and sea pickles and stuff, but now we can get started on the fisherman's house. So I am kind of questioning if I need to expand out this hill a little bit, because I really want to leave this area to be the side to make like a big old stairway pathway thing leading up to our base. But this, starting from like maybe here or so, feels really small for the kind of house that I want to build. So I think I might bring this hill out just a little bit, or terraform it in, and just kind of expand maybe like that half of the platform. I'm not too sure. So let's start playing around, and I'm gonna make up some concrete real quick, and then I'm gonna kind of see if we can start laying out the idea for the house that we have. Okay, so I have put down a dirt area of where I think I want to put the house. Now we still might kind of have to terraform some of the sides around it, but I don't want to give it like too much room because I need it to kind of feel like a tight fit. I'll worry about kind of fixing up this a little bit after we get the house done. I want to save the detailing for after we kind of get the main build done. So I'm thinking for the house, I really want to try to make it a blue like baseline, and then maybe a copper outline on the roof, and then fill it in with, I think, deep slate, cobbled deep slate to be specific. But yeah, I really want to try kind of giving it more of like an aquatic palette instead of the palette that I'm using up there, which is more of just the natural like bricks and the grays and stuff along with wood. So I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to wait for it to become daylight, and then we will get started. So I'm going to try to kind of like texture as I go. I normally wait until I'm done with the build before I start texturing, but I'm really trying to learn how to improve my builds, and one of the tips I saw online for that was to work on gradients. So that's what I'm going to kind of try. I made some light blue concrete powder. Sorry, I can't speak very well sometimes, but so I made some light blue concrete powder, and I'm going to kind of try to do a little bit of like a gradient as I go. We'll see how this works. So I'm gonna try to kind of like merge this in with the blue powder, but I did bring a water bucket just in case I need to make it into regular concrete. So yeah, let's just kind of see how this goes. So I realized I made a grade mistake. I accidentally made light blue when I actually need cyan. So I'm gonna run up to the house and see if I can't possibly make some cyan concrete instead of the light blue, which means I accidentally just wasted a lot of lapis lazuli. Whoopsies. Okay, it may not look like much, but I think I'm pretty happy with it. I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to teach myself how to improve my builds and my palettes. So this is something that I really wanted to try, was kind of doing a gradient, but I textured like as I went up. And I think it's not too bad. I might still go through and change some bits out, kind of like I'm doing now, but I think it's not too bad, all things considered. I think it'll look better once we get like the detailing and stuff going. But before I start any of that, I want to go ahead and put on the roof, which I want to see if I can't do out of copper. And of course, we're going to let it age a little bit. And the deep slate, I think, is what I'm going to try. So let's turn these into some stairs. Alrighty, I think we have the main part of the house done. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it'll look a lot better once this copper starts to oxidize. Oh, like that piece. Yeah, once it kind of starts looking a little bit more like that, I think that will help just to kind of bring in some of those greens and that more weathered look that I'm kind of trying to go for. So now we can start on decorating up the outside. Once we get that decorated, I was thinking about maybe taking down this wall, but I'm not sure because I like how it kind of helps with like the hill here. So yeah, I'm not too sure. We'll probably find a way to kind of blockade off that little alleyway or maybe do something with it. But yeah, we can start decorating it up, and then we'll put out a little pier here and decorate up the bottom, and then the fisherman's house should be done. So for decorations, I really want to kind of keep to, the theme. So I want lots of barrels, I think, maybe a few campfires. We're not using a whole ton of wood colors other than these. So I think I might make a few things in dark oak just to try to kind of bring in some variance. Alrighty guys, so I'm officially done with the Fisherman's house and I am really excited with how it came out. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick little tour after our time lapse before we get started on the next portions of this build. So for the start, we brought in the sand here. I think I want to change some of this out to be moss maybe, and maybe a little bit more of some cobblestone to kind of mix in with the sand. But I want your dock, or the dock, to be able to be here and you can dock your boat. And I just went through and kind of put down some like decorations of like some barrels and or some like fish barrels and regular barrels, composters, things like that. And kind of textured up like the sides of the build with like some vines and trapdoors and some hanging roots. And then I made this little like awning out of trapdoors. And whenever you come inside, I wanted it to be decorated, but still kind of barren feeling. And very like gross, wet, murky, mossy kind of vibes. So I put in the glowberries and lots of bushes, some more vines, some moss. I really like it. I wanted it to kind of have the feel of the fisherman is like permanently gone fishing and he's just never here to run the shop. And I'm super excited. I forgot to tell you guys when I was doing the start of the episode, but I finally found dripstone and I am so happy about it. We have some lava going back at the house, but now we can also use it in this build, kind of add more to the like wet vibes of the Fisherman's house. And I also want to add it to the tunnel whenever we get started on the Axolotl build. So here is a quick little peek at what it would look like coming up to the tunnel or through the tunnel, and just a little side view. I know it's like kind of hugging the like hill here, but I kind of wanted it to be like that, kind of be like in the land, because I really wanted it to kind of, you know, have that overgrown, like the earth around it just kind of, I don't know, kind of like soaks it up, I guess is a good way to put it. I don't really know, but I hope how to word it. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. I wanted it to look very like misplaced. And I think it kind of works. I didn't want it to be too open like you know, the rest of the build. So I think I'm pretty happy with it. So now we can get started on the axolotl enclosure. The axolotl enclosure I want to try to put in the wall right there and kind of almost have like hidden away, so to speak. So first let's texture up this last little bit of the stone down here, and then I think I'll start with maybe trying to texture up the like this little area, and I still might raise this up another level, and then I'll dig out a section for the axolotl enclosure, and then we can talk about how we're going to decorate that. Alrighty, so I just finished decorating up the tunnel and I'm pretty happy with it, with the dripstone and the roots and the glowberries. And then we have the floor decorated up just a little bit. I think it's pretty well. I like it. Oh, I did mean to put, oh, I just put it away. Hold on. Let me put a piece of string there real quick. I do think I might want to put down just 1 or 2 shroom lights here just to kind of make sure that this area is lit up. Yeah, I think that helps kind of keep that area bright. So next is the axolotl enclosure, and then the last thing will be to kind of figure out what I want to do with this wall here and probably expand it out a little bit. And then we got to make our little staircase going up to the base and fill in that giant area. So I think let's go ahead and kind of dig out where we want the enclosure to be, and then I'll kind of worry about branching in the axolotl enclosure along with how we're going to decorate up this wall. I don't want it to be just flat stone, but I don't want it to be like a truly decorative wall either. Kind of the same thing over here. I'm not quite too sure which one we're going to do, or what we're going to do with it, but let's go ahead and start digging out this wall. So I think I kind of want to like replicate what's like in here, which means I'll probably need to go back and go get some more seagrass and pickles, but I think I kind of want like the majority of it to be sand, and then, well, no, because it is axolotls. I'm so torn between doing like a ocean vibe and like a lush cave vibe. I don't have a whole ton of moss, but we can just bone meal it up with some dirt if we need to. That's kind of, I think I want to try to do kind of like a little bit of both. So if I have something like that, maybe for kind of like the back half of it to be right, like the back part of it to be the lush cave half, and then we could have like the rest of it be sand. I don't know if that's gonna look silly. Let me do that. And I know that there's, yeah, like a kelpie sand thing, so maybe we could kind of use that to like transition some of it. Okay, I think that's not too bad, and once we get the water in here, we can put in the coral blocks. Before I do that, I want to add some shroom lights, and I'll run it back out and go grab some more sea pickles as well. Okay, this is kind of the vibes for the wall on this side that I want to do. I am out of moss though, so I need to go get some more, but I'm kind of at a standstill right now because I need to move all of this stuff to be able to finish like decorating this half of the wall. But we also still have to do the stairs over there, so this part will probably come last, and I'd rather just leave all my stuff here so that I can just kind of finish off the projects instead of having to run back and forth. But once we're done, then I'll work on moving everything back and finish off this little section of the wall. Look at them. How cute. And we were also able to get one of every color. There we go. It is officially all done. And this is kind of like the look that I was going for, is I wanted them to be kind of like hidden behind the wall, so to speak. And of course, like I said, we'll have to finish this side in once we finish our projects for the day. But with that being said, let me add that dripstone back and then we can move on to the next part. Okay, so now that that part of the wall is done, I still need to go through and texture this side, but I'll worry about that in a minute. First, I want to terraform out this section. Initially, I was going to make the path come up this way, but I wanted the house to be able to be further up instead of so far back, so I'm actually going to fill this in, and we're going to make the path, I think the stairways kind of like meet up. Maybe kind of like here-ish. And then we can make like a little path. Right, kind of like leading over. Something like that. And we'll terraform up like a little, this to be a little bit more covered as we go. But it is getting dark, so let's go ahead and sleep first. And then I'll fill this in and then we'll start adding the stairs. So as I started working on the tunnel, I wanted to do kind of a mixture of the same block palette that we have on the walls, just to really tie it together. And I also wanted to bring out the patio just a little bit to kind of like merge it into it. So I did that, and I went through and kind of textured up the walls to be the same thing that's in the boat tunnel, to kind of be like a gradient from the stone and the moss to the dirt. And then I added, of course, our lighting with our shroom lights and glowberries and a few lanterns. One of my favorite details about this whole area is adding little like holes in the walls using stairs and slabs. So I went through and did all of that, and also cleaned up the section over near the axolotls just to kind of finish off their wall. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it all came out. So with that being said, I think we are going to go ahead and wrap up the episode here. Thank you guys so much for watching. It means the absolute world. And this is officially going to be the last episode on this Let's Play world for about a few episodes, I'm thinking. I'm not too sure exactly what the schedule is going to be, but I am going to be releasing the next episode after this one will be the first episode on our hardcore world. Like I said, I definitely still want to do a Skyblock series. I'm just going through and doing a little bit of research, making sure I understand Minecraft mechanics, and watching a few other YouTubers just to kind of see how they do it, since I'm not the smartest with Minecraft mechanics. That way I can be a little bit more educated and prepared before I start on the Skyblock series myself. So in the meantime, while I kind of work on that, I'm going to go ahead and start up the hardcore series. I'm super duper excited for that series. I have a ton of fun ideas that I'd really like to get to, and I'm really going to dedicate myself. I've played on a hardcore before, but never like truly put in the efforts into making a true world and seeing how far along in the game I can get. That's what we're going to do on this series with you guys. So if you are looking forward to that content, or if you are enjoying the Let's Play series, it would mean so much if you would consider maybe leaving a like on the video and possibly even subscribing to the channel. That way you can get notified whenever I post new videos on any of the series that I have planned. And leaving likes on the videos helps the videos to reach more people and also helps the channel to grow. So if you've enjoyed the content so far, it would mean so much if you would consider either one of those. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!